that time of week once more for Muji and Dan to give you the comic store. It's time to open up those bags and boards, fans. Welcome to Get Your Pulls.
Yo, yo, yo. Let me speak on pulls. It's Get Your Pulls, number 88. It's a late night one for us.
Extremely, yeah.
It's the buzzed edition.
Slightly. It's been quite a crazy week, let me tell you. I mean, if you're a dork like us and you like,
Stuff.
specific shit that's probably cool.
We're right in the middle of a great week of entertainment.
Very exciting week.
It's Friday night, and we actually do indeed feel all right from those beers.
Oh, yes.
But
the show's sponsored by Yingling, even though they're not sponsoring us. They are in spirit.
Yes. Give me a yingaling if you'd want soft dingaling. Now they'll never be our sponsors, but show just got explicit. But yeah, we've had
it can.
Yeah, we've had a good couple days. We'll talk about Winter Soldier here in a couple minutes. We saw that. It's Friday night, so we got WrestleMania and Game of Thrones coming back on Sunday. A few things to talk about. A little bit of news, some DC news. Some rumored comics from reading old Bleeding Coup. They got somebody sent in a subscription. Apparently there are places that are just absolutely too far, which this is kind of weird to me because digital exists, but some people just have to collect. Some places where there's just not a comic shop close, so you can actually subscribe to comics through a bunch of different subscription services, which is awesome. I mean, that's what I'd do before I'd go digital.
Hey, anywhere you can get your comics.
Yeah, get them mailed to you, so that's great. Especially in a lot of other countries, like there's lots of places like that's their only way to do it. But with a few of the DC things that have been, the way that it works with DC is that if you have a subscription to a comic, you pay, like lots of people pay for like the whole year in advance. The way, you do like an old school magazine subscription.
Right, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. So with some of the comics getting canceled, people were wondering like, well, what are they going to get in their place? Like what gets inserted here? So somebody sent a letter to DC, and the rumor they got back, Bleeding Cool's usually pretty good at getting pretty accurate information and stuff like this for a few of the comics, that Batman the Dark Knight, they would just have Batman and Robin put in their place, which makes sense, if they don't have that. I don't know if they do have that also, what they would get, but...
I gotta ask a question about that, though. Isn't that kind of fucked up? I mean, like, say you're collecting an issue, of something, a series, and it ends.
Yeah.
At, say, issue 15. We'll pick an arbitrary number, 15. Yeah. And then you get it replaced with Batman and Robin. Are you getting it at wherever the fuck it's at, or are they gonna fucking hook you up with some back issues to get you caught up?
Sure, they're not giving the back issues. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the chance you take when you go the sub route, is that's gonna happen to you, or pay in advance that might happen to you. But that's gonna be the replacement there, and then Teen Titans is supposed to be replaced by New Teen Titans, which makes sense and was already kind of the rumor. But then a weird one, which we know that there's going to be a book everybody's rumoring called Nightwing and Bluebird. That's a rumor that's been going on. But then we also, maybe that book won't be happening because like what the person got back from their letter when they sent it to DC was that Nightwing would be replaced by a book simply called Grayson. So we know Dick Grayson's unmasked, and people know coming out of Forever Evil, whenever we find that out, hopefully by like Thanksgiving when Forever Evil, those last issues ship. It's called Forever Evil for a reason. But
that was the gimmick. Yeah, that's where they got us.
It's like, yeah, joke's on you. We put it in the title, you dumbasses. But, that's going to be the book where people are going to know it's Dick Grayson, and so, he's going to have to live his life as Dick Grayson, and, and who knows what's going to happen. Obviously, at some point, he's going to figure out a way to go back to being Nightwing, I'm sure, but...
Yeah.
So that's the rumor, so that's some pretty cool news on that stuff. And then, so fucking Superman Unchained is delayed for like 8 years.
I saw that as well,
so
man. DC is really sucking a bag of dicks.
I mean, it's certain ones. Like Forever Evil, I don't know why they pushed it back. I suppose it's the art, because that's always what it ends up being. But with fucking Superman Unchained, I mean, that's just what it turns out. It's like it's Jim Lee's running the company, so it takes him a minute to draw.
Yeah, I mean, then let me clarify that. The meeting the editorial deadline sucks a bag of dicks. The stories have been pretty good, so I'm really hoping to get more of them. I would just like them on time.
And you also think, too, which I think they said they thought they had, like, Jim Lee thought he had enough time because he was 3 issues in before it came out. He thought that'd be enough. Obviously hasn't, considering it's been going on for a while now, and we've only had 6 issues come out. We've had a couple of big delays, but you also think, too, man, it doesn't really like go with the continuity that much. I mean, it certainly feels like it's within the DC universe, but it doesn't really tie into like anything. Like they really could have just waited a couple more issues to get drawn before they released it and not had these problems. But who knows? But anywho, those are pushed back, so whatever. Be happy when I get them. Like I said, at least it's not a story that's like important like Forever Evil, where you're like, oh, well, what the fuck's going to happen for the next month then if that book's been pushed back?
Yeah, and the delays affecting other titles. And
yeah, like the last
that.
issue of Nightwing, I got to wait on. It's been delayed. Then Justice League, also another book I get's been delayed because they don't want to give you forever spoilers. Despite the fact, I mean, it seems like they have done everything they can to give you said spoilers, but on these they don't want to. Anyways, another little bit of comic book news. We don't talk about sales that often, just once every few months, but I thought it was interesting that this year is like the first time like the sales have started to go back down a little bit since the New 52 came out. It had all been record highs month after month. Like the sales kept going up. January was like, or February was our first month where the sales went down. Now they went back up a little bit from March, but they are down 10% from last year.
It's an interesting dynamic. I mean, I think a small factor does have to be the fucking brutally miserable winter that the entire eastern half of the United States
I saw some comic shops saying that they just didn't have people coming in, even regulars, to get their books on time, and and that's going to cause people not getting extra stuff and everything. So I think that has a little bit to do with it. But also there's a couple things. I mean, I think it's just standard attrition where people just aren't as excited because the books are in going on issue 30 now. So if you want to get started on a book, like you're going to have to shell out some coin, to get the first 28 issues of Batman, it's going to cost you $150 or something.
Yeah, and Marvel keeps trying to replicate that, and they're not doing it.
They're not, and I think there's a couple things. Here's like the couple of big things I would say is big, which Image actually, last month, which lost a little bit of marketplace thing, this month came back to their highest forever. They're over 10%, so they actually took some from DC, which, makes sense, because, they're the only place you're really getting actual new series for the most part.
Oh, man, Image is just, like, it's a new golden age for them almost.
Yeah, anytime you drop a book, you get Image. I dropped Wolverine the X-Men, so I can afford Southern Bastards.
Yeah,
it's
like, dropped Green Lantern for Southern Bastards
myself. So it's just, that's what it seems to happen, is when I drop a book, it's to get an Image book. And that is one of the things with DC, maybe with some creative changes, if somebody exciting comes on a book, like I've thought about adding Superman because Johns is coming on, but a lot of the books you get, like with DC, is just, you don't want to, like, have to go back and read those first however many issues.
Well, this is an aside, but about this John Superman run, we talked about this a little bit. I'm getting a little tired of the cock tease superstar writer-artist combo launching a new book. And it's, they're really only on it for the first arc. And then
DC hasn't been as bad about that as Marvel.
They've done it too, though. They did it with JLA. The Jeff Johns and Ivan Reis were doing it originally, and then they were off, and Matt Kent took it over, and it wasn't bad, but it was just tied into different stuff, and it absolutely suffered, and let's hope that doesn't continue.
I'm gonna guess with them getting Romita this contract, they're probably got a good little run in them that's gonna be on Superman. But
yeah, I really hope so, because this stuff looks awesome.
I think it's a combination of things though. I saw like Brubaker was asking on Twitter today, like, why do people think that the comics? Some of it could be digital, some of it's probably the weather that we've had at the beginning of the year, some of it probably is digital, but I think here's gonna be like my couple of main things I would say is, one, for Marvel, because even though their percentage is good, they've lost sales. It's the double ship. There's just too many books. It's like
expensive.
You really have to look at it. Like if you really look at it against anything else, like any Marvel book that double ships a $4 book. So you're looking at $8 a month to keep up with it. Not only that, if you're getting an XMen book, you every quarter get asked to buy a bunch of extra books for an event. But if you're looking at $8 a month, you could get Hulu Plus or Netflix for the same price.
$2 more, and you can get the WWE Network.
Any of these things you could get for the same price as, 44 pages of comics. So it's really, if you are having to cut your budget, you really can't justify that. You get so much more entertainment, really for the dollar. And then B, it's just the events. I just think people don't care about the events now.
Yeah, I think they are event weary.
Forever Evil sold like crazy, and then Infinity sold like crazy, but even like anything going on now, it's like you just don't care, and people are tired of having to go buy 5 extra books to keep up on an event. And events aren't special. There's an event going on all the time. Like, I know the new one this year, the big Marvel event's supposed to be Original Sin. It's like, you're like, and
Jason Aaron's doing it, freedom to potty humor family, like, certainly, like,
and it may be great.
Awesome, but man,
but you're not excited. There's always something going on. I mean, Infinity got pushed back. Inhumanity, so they're going to be basically going on at the same time. It's like, it's just, you just don't care, and all the tie-ins that, they ask you to buy. And it's not even that, too. The bigger problem, because a lot of these stories, you don't have to buy the tie-ins. The bigger problem is when the tie-in fucks up your book, and you've randomly got 2 issues within the book that you're already buying that have nothing to do with the story that's been going on, that are obviously just thrown together because they're like, well, we have to make this make sense with Forever Evil, so I guess we'll do this. Which, I think it's been the opposite. Some of the stuff's been good in JLA that's been Forever Evil. Some of it hasn't. Same with Justice League. Some of the issues were good. Some of them weren't. But I think that's really the combo. I think the main 2 things are the double shipping. People just... Because when I drop a book, that's it. When I'm thinking about, I want to add some new books. What should I drop? And I'm like, oh, well, I should drop one of these double ship books because I can add
get $8
2 books at Image.
Yeah.
Or 2 other books for, the same price. So... that's how I added stuff too. I added She-Hulk and Moon Knight, both because they're single shipped. Both of them, I was like, even if they're good, I don't want, I'm trying my best. Even Amazing Spider-Man's coming back. I got it on my pull list. Pretty sure I'm going to get it, but it does give me pause. I do think about the fact, I'm like, I just don't know. If it's not great, I don't know if I want it. And they do the Batman stuff. I'm already looking. Amazing Spider-Man #1's already $8 or $9. So I'm like, it's that's not inviting. Even and it never happens. You never in one of these big. So it's going to be an 80-page spectacular. You're not going to get 80 pages of good story. It never happens.
No, you get about the same size, maybe a little bit longer, maybe about an annual's worth of good story, and then you get a bunch of filler bullshit.
Yeah.
And so it's cool. This Deadpool thing coming out. It's got a little cartoon from every person who's ever written Deadpool. It's a big tribute to the history of the character and yada yada yada. But still, bottom line is you're asking me to pay $9 for $5.
It's $9.99. Yeah,
you're
paying $10. You can get a hardcover for $12, and this is one story. So I think that's it. I think the main thing is all that combined, but also one of the big things. I think the New 52 got a bunch of new readers in the comic stores, and it got everybody interested. But then once you got over the initial, and it goes for Marvel too with Marvel Now, they kind of continued it. But once you got over the initial just excitement about getting in at the beginning and reading the stories and going into it, the quality started to rise to the top. So, I remember at the comic shop, there being talking to the comic store owner, and he's like, yeah, we got a bunch of people who are getting every title in the New 52. When it started. Mm-hmm. And then, if you just, and same with Marvel Now, once the books slip, even you've dropped, you love Hickman, but Avengers wasn't great. You can't pay $8 a month for Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. And that's no, Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four, I'm still collecting in trade. I've got 7 volumes of it. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I love his writing in it. I loved his writing in Secret Warriors, which we'll talk more about here in the Winter Soldier review. But I just couldn't justify $8. Couldn't do it. And characters I love. It was a decent story, but I needed it to blow me away.
It's I'm starting to feel that way with all new X-Men, where I feel like it's getting to a point to where it's decent, but it's not great. And it's can I pay $8 a month for this story if you're not completely in love? It makes it way easier to drop a book that you're not loving and you don't give it the chance you might. With some books, they start going in a direction you don't like it, but you're well, maybe this story is just not great, and I'll go through it. But then you can't when you're well, they're starting a story in this book, and it's going to end up costing me $25 over the next 3 months to figure out if I like it or not. It's just not the same deal. But
we'll talk more about that here in a minute too when we get to the actual full reviews.
Exactly. But we'll get to we saw the Winter Soldier. That was the beginning of All-Star Nerd Weekend.
And if you're to
saw it
the
at 8:30.
uninitiated, it would be the Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Captain
Yes,
America
Cap 2. Which we'll be talking spoilers. I mean, we reviewed all those books, the Brubaker run on Captain America, so any spoilers you would have found out if you listened to one of our previous podcasts. If you haven't read those, I'd recommend reading them after you watch this because you'll get a lot of awesome other stuff. And it's different enough to where it's a different story. But the heavily inspired by Brubaker Cap, and say for me, it's my favorite Marvel movie that I've seen yet, and I think arguably the best Marvel movie that's come out yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know even how arguable it is. I mean, I guess it depending on what you're looking for. You know, if you're looking for a more family friendly, like, you know, action packed adventure thrill ride, maybe Avengers was better for you.
You could argue with me why Avengers is better, and I could be like, okay, I disagree, but I see it. But I really don't think anything else like you could even do that.
And it's funny because I heard people say, well, it's kind of like a 70s political thriller, and I was like, well, that would be awesome, but I really don't think Marvel's going to do that. I mean, they actually did.
I mean, it had some of that. I think that I loved it, so don't take this as like bad stuff, but I do think like it's overrated. Like they had a lot of those in there. Like they did a great job of just putting those elements in a big like popcorn summer action movie. Like if you go back and actually watch a 70s like action thriller, it's a lot darker than like what we saw in the Winter Soldier because it's a Marvel movie, but it had like they did a great job of like putting enough of that in there to where
I mean, yeah, I think for its boundaries that Marvel movies have set, this one far exceeded them as far as like gore and shit like that. Like I mean,
it certainly went further. I mean, they actually used knives.
Ruthless, and there was lots of just fucking vicious on-screen
murder.
murder.
I mean, there were like stabbings. I mean, there wasn't really blood or anything when they were using the knives.
No, I mean they did a lot of like Punisher style off-camera shit, but it was definitely like vicious murders.
Oh yeah, I mean, people kept getting shot, stuff like things that you certainly like. So I mean, it was definitely for a Marvel movie, but a lot. The spy thrillers of the 70s, you're talking about like rated R movies. Like this was well within PG-13, like not close to being a rated R movie. But it's way different than most of the Marvel movies. I mean, they've really got to strike a balance with it too. I mean, like Guardians of the Galaxy, you see the preview and they're like, this is different because it's, it's going to be like this big space comedy. And you're like, yeah, I mean, I see it, but it is, I mean, it feels like a Marvel superhero movie. Cap still felt like a Marvel superhero movie, but it felt different than all the rest of them. Like, you could still see that stamp of it being a Marvel movie on it, but it certainly is, like, the most different.
Stakes were much higher.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's been one of my main complaints. As much as I've enjoyed all these movies, and Avengers, as much as, like, I enjoyed it, I was like, it's all highs, like, you're laughing, and the gimmicks are good, the effects are good, you cheer when the Hulk, like, picks up Loki and throws him on the ground. You never felt any danger for any of our heroes in that movie. This movie had stakes. It felt like an old school blockbuster, like Raiders of the Lost Ark, like Star Wars, the old movies that you could watch.
Terminator.
Yeah, the old movies that you could watch that were still fine for kids to watch.
Well,
Terminator's really not really on the list, yeah. But like Raiders, Star Wars, movies that were perfectly fine. Like movies that were for the kid in all of us, but not just for kids. And a lot of these Marvel movies, because we're man-children, you still enjoy, but they're really made for like a 12-year-old. This movie, I felt like was a legit made for all ages. And if you're an adult, like a great cartoon, you got more out of it than a kid would, even though a kid is still going to love it.
Yeah, I mean, I would even be sketchy about letting my kid see that because it was just a
I mean, if they're like 8, they can see it.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, we watched Jaws and Halloween. We're like 5 years old,
No. I'm talking about, my small child. Like, because there are some parts that, like, were legitimately kind of scary. Like, they really did push that.
It wasn't a Disney movie. When Avengers was Avengers, you wouldn't feel bad at all letting, like, a toddler watch and see they could probably get what was going on. It was like a Disney movie. This didn't feel like that. So, certainly, and I think this is probably as far as Marvel's going to push it in these movies, and if that is the case, then perfectly fine with it.
That's fine. It goes as far as they need to go.
It's the perfect balance of like what you like. I said, it's like Star Wars or Indiana Jones. It's the perfect balance of like making it feel like a real like movie with real characters, and also being like where if you're a kid and see it, you think it's great.
And there were just a lot of highlights, man. Chris
Yeah.
Evans' one was fantastic, better than any of his previous two portrayals as Cap, which were both good, I thought. But this
Yeah.
one, he really turned it up and brought up some of the other
Yeah.
subpar acting around him because he was so good,
Yeah.
actually.
Well, I felt like it like gave you everything, and like barely any of the movies, like it's only a small handful of the movies have given you like everything that's good. Like they had good characters in it. They definitely coming out of this movie, Captain America, his personal character like journey, they've added a ton to it.
Yeah, you want to root for him like never before.
Yeah,
and
they
he
did with
totally
Nick Fury as well.
Yes.
This is by far the most like. I mean, Nick Fury is a co-star of this movie. Like all the others, even in Avengers, he's just a small kind of there. Like Nick Fury gets a whole character arc in this. Black Widow gets a whole character arc. Like you get all three of those characters, and the Falcon, who's a little bit more supporting, but also gets the arc.
And was awesome.
And was great.
Fucking
yeah,
awesome.
And Anthony Mackie's great as him. He's perfect. They all get character arcs that, for like, a popcorn movie, obviously, like a big budget movie like this, all their characters progress, which does not happen all the time in movies. Much as how I said one of my problems with Thor, like I had a lot of fun, but when his mom died, I was just like, man, I don't care. She's been on the movie for fucking 4 minutes. And this movie, I would have cared if something really bad happened to one of the people. And even Nick Fury, I mean, they pull off, if you haven't seen the movie spoilers, they pull off where they kill, they make you, think that maybe they've possibly killed Nick Fury off. You're bummed about it, which never happens in these movies in general. You're like, oh shit. And then it starts, if you're like a fanboy like me, it starts running through your head. You're like, maybe he's really dead. Maybe they're going to do fucking Tony Stark, Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe they're Iron Man, Director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
maybe
you
that's Iron Man 4.
Like,
maybe that's Iron Man 4.
Just shooting to see where they're going next. I personally was thinking and was right on where they were going because I was like, oh man, Secret Warriors, like he's going underground.
Yeah.
Like he's going to appear. And then sure enough, they found him. He'd gone underground and kind of created his own version of the Secret Warriors with much more famous people.
Yeah.
But like they also from that book took the whole the fact that S.H.I.E.L.D. was actually infiltrated and overrun by Hydra and was maybe even possibly created by Hydra inadvertently,
Yeah, I mean, you got the great character stuff. It's definitely the best action of any of the movies, the best fights.
Oh my god, spared no, and it wasn't a bunch of CGI bullshit, and they spared no expense on the fucking fight scene.
There's plenty of CGI in it, but there's a lot of like non-CGI.
Yeah, and it's so tastefully done. It's like they didn't like horn in on it, Most of it's like explosions and things like that. Like the fighting, man, was just. It's
great,
so
and it starts out hot, which is the way. I never understand movies that don't. It's always the way that like really good like movies. I think one of the things that makes I think this better than Avengers, even though the beginning set up like Loki kind of breaking out, the first third of Avengers is like it gets pretty boring for parts of it. It really kicks up. The third act of Avengers is what makes it like blow you out of the water. Like oh shit, like this whole thing has been 30 minutes felt like 5. But in this movie, it didn't. It starts out hot, like which is the great way that a lot of these movies start out. It's like it starts out like Empire. You get a big fucking great action thing. It starts out like like a lot of the great movies do. And you get a fucking like 5 minutes in the movie, you get to see Cap. The most you've ever seen him fighting, using the shield, kicking ass.
God, it's like everything you ever dreamed
and he's
to
fighting
see
Batroc.
With the
He's fighting Batroc the Leaper, who's being played by George St. Pierre, one of the best MMA fighters in the world. Which, if you love MMA, by the way, and you like didn't know he's in the movie, you could make him a shadow and see him throw the fucking Superman punch, and then see him throw like a spinning back kick, and be like, "It's GSP." It's it's just like he's throwing like his real MMA stuff in there. Obviously trying not to connect, but. It's a fucking great fight. It's the best fight in any of these movies that they've had so far. It's just great hand-to-hand combat. And you get that throughout the movie, man. You got all sorts of awesome fucking fights between Cap and Bucky. All sorts of great stuff, man, throughout the movie that was awesome. So it's got the best action of any of the movies, I feel like, too. And then also, man, it's probably got the most, like, drops of like little Easter eggs of the rest of the Marvel universe.
Oh god!
I mean, you got to see their version of Armin Zola as the computer head, which was fucking great.
Amazing.
You got to see they dropped the name of Stephen Strange as being a possible guy that would be a threat, to the bad guys, that they might go after. So that sets him up for when he's going to be in the movie.
Ed Brubaker had a cameo. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
He was the
He's
guy
one of the
that
scientists.
wiped the brain of the
Yes.
Winter Soldier.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah, he's in there, which is awesome. He gets credit too. He's in the credits with a special thanks.
And what about the Nick Fury tombstone? Did you see that one?
No, what was on the Nick Fury's tombstone?
The Path of the Righteous Man, which is the first
Oh,
thing
yeah.
he says from
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
Pulp
that's awesome.
Fiction.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
great is that?
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, like I said, I mean, the main thing is they progress all the characters, because Nick Fury now is more than just like the kind of like, hey, I'm bringing this together guy. Like, he was awesome in the movie. Black Widow was even more awesome in Avengers. Like I said, you get to see Cap full force, capping out. And then it really sets up the story great, and it really sets up for the next one. Like, you go in this movie, if you know the story, hoping, well, I wonder what's going to happen next. Cap 3 is obviously going to be about Cap looking for the Winter Soldier. So they're going to continue that story. Like, he's already said he's not in Avengers. It wouldn't make sense for Bucky to be in Avengers, too. But yeah, I mean, you could see that, which is a continuation. It's a great story. You got to see kind of the beginning of Crossbones. Crossbones is in the movie, but he's just a dude that's in S.H.I.E.L.D. undercover. It's in Hydra. Just a regular guy, but he gets his face fucked up at the end, so you assume he's probably going to be in the Crossbones outfit with his face, covered up like in the next one. So that's awesome. You get to see that.
Yeah, I kind of think they might be going the Death of Cap route.
I think they will. Like, the only thing I think about that story is that they're not going to do a movie where Cap's mostly not in it. So if they kill Cap in the next one, I can only imagine that the next Cap after that, you're going to get maybe like 30 minutes with no Steve. Like, I can't see them doing...
Well, Chris Evans has got a 6-picture deal. Now, does that start with his first movie, or is that after they renegotiate?
I think it's after they renegotiate. Like, what I heard is like the majority of everyone is on the hook for like 9 in all. Which doesn't mean they're going to get 9. That's a big misconception too with Sebastian Stan. He's like, they have me for 9 movies, but he's like, I didn't know if I was going to get to do 2. Like, it's just they have you option for that many movies. So yeah, Chris Evans, I mean, he's done 2 Caps, 2, is able to do a second Avengers. So I mean, even if so, you're looking at like Avengers, just his 4th movie. So even if he's got 6,
I mean, you have 2 more.
He'll definitely be in the next Cap and the next Avengers. So, I mean, in the next one, I mean, you could see him die at the end of Cap, but I think like the only way it makes sense for them to do a Death of Cap is if they're going to use Avengers 3 as Civil War, but you got to think they got to pay Thanos off at some point.
Yeah.
I know he's going to be in Guardians, but you think that the Avengers are going to have to take him down.
No,
so
he's supposed to be the villain in Avengers.
it's like
3,
where could they do Civil War, because you can't do Civil War without...
It's probably maybe the next Iron Man movie.
But I mean, are you going to call it that? Wouldn't you rather call it Avengers? Because I mean, you're going to need most of the Avengers to do that story, right? Like, you need it to be like, you need the biggest cast of all.
There's also been talk about a Planet Hulk movie, and that's because
I've heard that
shot
too.
the Hulk off into space for.
But I've heard of that as being
so.
the Guardians. I've heard of that as being the Guardians sequel, because they're already out in space. That maybe they'll, change that story a bit to where they and the Hulk end up on a story together, just as a way to bring him back. Because there is this fear, I guess, because the underperforming both Hulk movies of just not giving just a straight up Hulk title.
Yeah, there's a lot of
places
they can go, so it's going to be
interesting. Yeah, I mean, it just depends on how long they have these guys under contract. Because if they pay off Thanos in Avengers 3, you can do Civil War after that, and do like a whole thing. But it's also how long you have these actors for. They're going to get old. I mean,
yeah,
15 years from now,
one of these every year.
Yeah.
I mean, you are, but you're not pumping out.
Every 3 years is an Avengers. Yeah,
exactly. So
how are you gonna take it? But yeah, man, I think, like I said, I thought it was a great movie. I think it's definitely the best Marvel Studios movie that has come out, and it's probably the best Marvel in general.
I mean, and like for me, just as a huge fan of the source material, it being probably my favorite Marvel story, it's definitely up there. If it's not my very favorite, like, I think they really just nailed it, and like they didn't do everything exactly like the comic, but they made it fit.
They changed it for their universe.
Within their universe, exactly, and it was just, my god, like I just want to go see it again, like right now.
Yeah, it was fantastic,
so
and it also shows you the power of like these things of like, if they take these great stories and adapt them correctly, then why not keep doing it? Because, if you do like really good stuff, then this is what can come out of it. But that, a striking thing about the movie, but we don't do the Muji Movie Minute anymore, But if we were doing Muji Movie Minute, I mean, I would give this pretty high. I'd probably give it like a 92 out of 100 or something. I would say, like, not even just like of the movies I like. I would say the only like thing, like The Dark Knight's probably the only movie that I could like say that I for sure think is probably like just overall better. Like, I think, you could argue that there are a couple other superhero movies made that are as good as this movie, but I don't think you could really argue anything other than that's better. And really take out just fucking the, performance of a lifetime from Heath Ledger in that movie.
Yeah.
And this would have the chance, I think, of like being the best thing. I just don't think there was anything like that in this movie, but it was fucking great. And it was great, and it was exactly what like I want a blockbuster summer movie to be. Like, this is the type of movie that I want to see. This is Indiana Jones. This is Star Wars. This is the fucking first Star Trek movie they made a couple of years ago. This is like exactly like what you want out of a movie that has to sell toys, but you also want it to fucking give you something as an adult. It's perfect. So hopefully just keep getting better, man. It makes you want to see this movie again, and it makes you see fucking part 3. You know it's probably going to be 3 years, but you immediately are just like, I want to fucking see the next one.
Yeah, I want that next piece of the Cap story. Fuck Avengers.
It was awesome. And one thing that hit me, though, also sitting there, even though no DC stuff, was this has got to be the most fucking superhero movie previews I've ever fucking seen, man.
It's a Marvel summer, my friend.
Dude, no shit.
God almighty.
No shit, man. You got to see the Guardians trailer, the one everybody's seen, which, looks great. It looks like it's going to be really funny.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
And for what it is, it's acceptable. Like, don't get me wrong. The things that bum me out, like in Thor and Iron Man, are the fucking stand-up routines happening during, like, the shit, when they're in the shit.
Right.
That's what this team is, so that's perfectly acceptable. So I think you can really, without compromising the story, go that way. And I think it has big time potential. Guardians of the Galaxy, I think, I don't see how you could do better than Winter Soldier, but I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being the second best, like, out of all the Marvel movies this summer. Which is so funny because it's made by Marvel Studios. X-Men looks pretty awesome. Like, you just never...
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, X-Men... I think X-Men's going to be fine, but there is certainly concern because there have been closer folks. But Bryan Singer's back. He directed the best 2 movies of the
Sentinels
franchise.
Look great in the preview. They've made them look... Class. Yeah, they've made them look really cool.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got a bunch of great actors, and who are all seem to be excited about the project, and are excited
to do more. Like, they're all, like, happy to get back together and do that.
And Singer's, like, got this whole vision where they're going to do Apocalypse and X-Force and other stuff in the future. So, I mean, I think, I'm got a little bit of concern, but I'm pretty fucking stoked about for Days of Future Past.
I'm the most concerned about Spider-Man 2.
Yes.
Amazing Spider-Man 2. Which you never know, because sometimes when they're the most concerned, they end up being the one that's like, oops, it was great. But I'm a bit concerned with I'm already, like, I don't love the way it looks. Like, they've CG'd him, like, when he's flying around too much. And also, I'm a bit scared about, like, how many villains and how many different stories they're going to try to tell, like, over this thing.
Yeah, that's certainly, I think, the concern from everybody. Now, I will say, I kind of maybe shit on it. Maybe unfairly, we'll see. But, I mean, I haven't seen the movie yet. First trailer came out and I shit all over it. The trailer we saw in the theater was trailer number 2. And I was pretty impressed by that one, to be quite honest. I mean, I hated this, like, the over CGI of everything. But as far as, like, the action sequences, the nods to the comics that were there, like the stories it looked like they were going to do, I think by that trailer they might just be able to pull off the 3 villains, but we'll have to see. I mean, clearly they're going for like a Sinister Six motif, so that's kind of the thing. So, I mean, Captain America pulled off multiple villains just fine.
Yeah, it's like you have to do it in a way that, like, that whole movie, I mean, the fucking,
It's hard to have 2 villains sharing the same dominance. It's like you gotta have one on top.
Exactly.
And the
you gotta have the Emperor with Darth Vader, which is what the Redford was with fucking the Winter Soldier, and then you can have little things, little fights like here and there with that. But so that's the one. I mean, I'm the most concerned for. But we'll see. Like I said, it could be great. It may not be. There's also this thing in me that's just like, what am I gonna see that's like new? Like, I was just very happy with, like, Spider-Man 1 and 2 from the original, and I'm just like, like, they really got to push it to do something, like, different and not just be like, yeah, man, great power, great responsibility, I'm going to go fight. Like, you got to give me something.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Also, too, man, I want to go on this because it is, it's comic booky. There were comics based off a comic. comic wasn't what got these movies made. But
about the Ninja Turtles?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the toys were the thing that got the movies made.
The trailer kind of looked like shit myself. But
I think that if you just, like, hate, you know, the, like, Michael Bay special effects, I mean, it looks like Transformers. I mean,
yeah, that was my biggest gripe about it.
I definitely looked over, like, as soon as it started going, like, we were sitting there in the movie, looked over and was like, Ninja Turtles, more than meets the eye. Like, it does look like it, but I also say this to everyone. There's not some sort of, like, artistic integrity you gotta, like, uphold for the Ninja Turtles.
No, it's true.
Those movies we loved as kids are fucking dumb, garbage movies that were just awesome because you loved the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
They look like shit. They're dude in fucking plastic suits. And in the movie, it gives you hope, at least. Like, I mean, you know you're going to get, like, a lot of action, like, CGI'd stuff that you don't care that much about. But also, nobody's going to accept dudes in suits. Like, you've got to do something with the turtles.
No, I'm okay with all that. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the way they look, and I don't think, you know, that they're giants is not a great thing. But whatever, but, like, I'm still open to all of it. Like, but what I didn't get out of that trailer was any ounce of the heart that Ninja Turtles had. And as silly and stupid and trash entertainment as it is, that was its biggest redeeming quality. It did have a lot of heart. Well, let's see if they give it. That's where I'm going to give it the chance. I'm going to go see it. I mean, the trailer didn't convince me.
You're certainly going to have to go and see it to get that, because, I mean, it was more based on action, give you the overall story. I mean, it's all pretty basic. It's, you know, it's like, oh, you know, it's like a kind of cliched thing, but again, Ninja Turtles, this is like a fucking movie to sell toys, so you're going to get that to an extent.
Yeah, and you really don't have to do a lot to make it awesome. But at least liked it.
I mean, they had a gag. Like, what gives you hope is there's a really funny joke in the trailer where he's like, you know, April O'Neil's freaked out seeing Michelangelo, and he's like, oh, sorry, it's a mask. And then he just takes off his, you know, little mask, and he's still a turtle. Like, that's pretty funny. Like, that's the type of thing that would have been in those old movies and cartoons that make you like it. So I think until the movie, like, comes, I mean, like I said, man, honestly, I know there's a bunch of people that love Ninja Turtles. I really liked it as a kid. I don't hold it as dear to my heart as a lot of stuff. And I loved them, had all the toys as a kid, of course. But the bar is pretty low, man. If, like,
that's what I'm saying. It's not hard to make a good Ninja Turtles.
If they're just throwing in little, like, jokes here and there, then I think it's going to be fine. I think this is going to be a movie that people...
just give it somewhat of a plot and a little bit of heart and just let them have fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to make a ton of money, but I think this is a movie I'm going to predict now that's one of those that, like, everybody's, like, really, like, bummed and shitting on before it happens, and then when it comes out, people are going to be, like, surprisingly like, oh, it's pretty good, it's way better than I thought.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm going to give it a shot.
First Transformers was a pretty decent movie. It was 2 and 3 where they just threw out the script and decided not to really do anything. But the first one, once again, one of my things, where's this fucking Transformers, not Shakespeare? Like, you know, great Transformer story to live up to. Like, this is it. And I feel the same way with Ninja Turtles. But let's get another comic, though. So, I mean, that's fucking 4. What they showed, like 5. Lucy, the movie they showed, that's another comic.
Johansson movie.
Another comic. Like, is
that a comic?
It's either a comic or a book. It's it's based on previous literature.
Okay.
Like, this is all motherfucking, like, it was like all comic previews, basically, but it's crazy. But yeah, that's the end. Winter Soldier was awesome. We'll
go see it.
Go see it a couple times. Yeah. See it in 2D like you're supposed to.
That's right.
We'll go through our pulls.
Lopside pull week this week. Last week it was me with the heavy sack.
I just had the 3, and this week you won up me with the deuce.
Yeah, only 2. So wherever you want to start, man, you can lead that dog by the horns.
I guess we'll start out with
that made no fucking sense. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll start out with Marvel. Yeah, my dog is fucking a dinosaur, but we start Marvel real quick. Hawkeye got shorted Moon Knight, but got my previously shorted Hawkeye in its place, so the amount of pulls I expected, the dollars I expected to spend, saved a bone. But yeah, Hawkeye number 18. It's probably my favorite Kate Bishop story yet. Like, it continued what's been going on with her.
Madam Mask is back in the picture, allegedly.
Madam Mask is in it, and they do a pretty good story, and they have some pretty bad stuff happen to some of the supporting characters in the book. So I really felt like I liked this one. I've liked the Clint stuff better than the Kate stuff overall, but you really kind of got in the meat of her story in this one, and I liked it a lot. So I thought it was a really good issue. She-Hulk number 3, continuing the goodness from Charlie Soule. It was good again. It was just it was mostly just some lawyering going on, but it was good, funny, quirky, good stuff. So
outstanding.
Liked it a lot as well. Really, that's the thing Marvel I think has been doing the best. Like, overall? Well, you got a combination of things. You got Remender and Aaron doing like the epic stuff, and then you've got like a lot of good stuff between Fraction and Soul with the good slice of life stuff. So they've got like a good balance of like their best books, like being, you know, kind of totally different things that you can get into.
Yeah, it's a wide array.
Yeah.
Speaking of, got Captain America number 19, Rick Remender. And the Iron Nail Part 3 is the storyline. One thing really surprised me about this issue is, again, I really can't believe Marvel has given him license to kill so many important Captain America characters. Now, as Rick Remender
I feel like Rick Remender just drinks like fucking whiskey and has like a Marvel poster and just throws a dart and is like, I'll find a way to kill him.
Because, okay, so like we already have a pretty high body count of important Captain America characters since the beginning of Remender's run. We're 19 issues in. I mean, we lost Sharon Carter.
She's dead.
We lost his son Ian, who, though we did find is back alive as the Nomad, but at least, you know, he thinks he's dead. We lost
Ian America.
Nuke, a famous Captain America villain who fucking took out a giant SHIELD base with thousands of SHIELD agents. We lost thousands more SHIELD agents in this issue when the Iron Nails plan is successful.
How many goddamn SHIELD agents do they have?
One of Captain America's fucking closest allies, Dum Dum Dugan, goes down in the fucking wreckage. So, I mean, they're just fucking strip mining Captain America's fucking supporting cast here. And to top it all off, Cap finally finds the Iron Nail and he unleashes his powers. Motherfucker can turn into a dragon. That's not good for a guy who's the super soldier.
I know everybody likes Game of Thrones. We're overdoing dragons already. We're starting to really overdo dragons. Did you see the fucking Sleeping Beauty of Thrones? That was another preview we saw at the fucking movie theater.
I mean, that's the coolest moment in the cartoon is when she turns into the dragon. I have to say, I fist pumped when I saw that on the preview just because, I mean, you know, you remember Sleeping Beauty when you were a kid? The fucking Wicked Witch turns into that fucking awesome-looking dragon?
Yeah. I thought that movie looks like shit.
I mean, it probably does, but
yeah.
I wanted to at least see her turn into the dragon.
But they brought it back.
Because I ain't gonna fucking see it.
But they brought it back, and then they made everything very Game of Thrones looking. I'm gonna say, Game of Thrones doesn't happen, this movie doesn't go into production.
Probably not.
But yes, keep going.
So, you know, not going to be easy to fight a dragon, especially when Dr. Mind Bubble puts a mind bubble on your head, and then the issue ends. So, craziness again from the old wacky Remender, who's really, like, my favorite author right now in comics.
Yeah, he's great.
Him and Jason Aaron.
He's great. It's tough. It's tough for me to choose.
And Matt Fraction. I mean, my God, Sex Criminals makes me laugh harder than most comedy movies I've seen. And
even though he's only writing one book, I would say that probably my favorites, if I had to pick favorites, would be Snyder and Brubaker. Even though Fatale and Velvet, you know. I mean, I guess he's writing two books now. He'd only written one book for a while, but I do love both those books a lot. And I do love fucking Batman. So, a lot of really good writers right now, though, man. A real A-list of guys, and some of them are guys that just popped up in the last couple of years. I mean, Soule and Snyder, you know, Lemire. These are guys that fucking came out of nowhere. Are good for the comics future.
Yes, it's a great time to be reading the books. Speaking
of Lemire, the only thing I've really read by him that didn't love. Trillium finally ended. Kind of went out on a whimper, it felt like. It just... just over. I mean, you know, like it's just, you know, they end up together. Big surprise. After like a big explosion, so it's just like...
Do you kind of think that might have been better read in a trade?
It might be better read in a trade, but I also feel like it was really stretched out. Like there was just lots of issues that were just like... I didn't like the narrative choice. The upside down thing got really annoying after like the second or third issue where you had to start flipping the book. Especially when you had to flip the book like every other page. It's like, I know they're trying to do something different, but I just didn't love it. I mean, there's apparently like a decent amount of people who have really liked it, but yeah, I mean, I've really liked everything else I've read by Lemire, but I did not like that. Over to some books I did like a lot. Revival, number 19. The story keeps getting deeper and deeper. We find out that some big info in this one. Couple different things, but you know, the revivers have started to change again. Where like, you know, a lot of the ones that have been alive for a while who haven't had the crazy spirits come back into their body. they've started fucking up. Like, you see M constantly is like getting fucked up, waking up like with blood coming out of her mouth and crazy stuff. So they're starting to evolve a little bit more. And also Dana Cypress finds out that somebody knows that, her sister might have murdered somebody. So she's going to kind of deal with that. That's a big bombshell that gets dropped in this one. But another great issue, pushing the story along, pushing different mysteries along. A lot of the characters that are in here that seemingly had different stories are really starting to come together to get, and crossing with each other to where you can kind of see, like, a little bit of, like, where they're going and how they're all going to end up, how their interactions are going to show you what's going to happen in the story. Just explain the same thing twice was first a lot better, and then secondly not as good.
That's a great book.
Black Science number 5 is awesome. I won't spoil it, but you get the bombshell dropped. You get it's actually kind of crazy. Out of nowhere, something happens. I won't even say that, but something happens. Something happens. Well, I won't say what that thing is. Right. Not to spoil it for you. But something happens to where we get to find out exactly for sure who sabotaged, like, their fucking equipment to where it fucked them all up. Okay. And the way that information is delivered totally changes, like, the way the book's going, to where you're like, oh shit, like, what's going to go with this? So, it was awesome. And then, we'll move over to DC.
Yeah, I guess you want me to start over here since the new detective, I'm guessing, is going to be pick of the week, maybe even action.
You guessed right.
Okay. So, over into DC New 52, Green Lantern number 30. I'm really sad to be dropping this book, but I have come to a conclusion on Green Lantern. And a little word of warning. Do not subscribe to the Green Lantern title. You're not prepared to pick up Green Lantern New Guardians and the Green Lantern Corps. Because if you
the Red Lanterns.
And the Red Lanterns is certainly, like, you may want to add that one too. Not a necessity, but the other two absolutely a necessity to even get what's going on with the storylines. Like, then because another event's coming up, and I've just had my fill of it.
Yeah, man. Like, per capita, like, Green Lantern has been on an XMen level of events, like, over the past 2 years, and they haven't been as good as the X-Men.
No, like, and it's like, if you got to get all three, fine, but, like, they should make that a little more pronounced.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just pointless. So, with that being said, fantastic issue. So I do hate to say goodbye to it. It's probably going to be the last issue. I may have one more before the event starts. But this was very Star Trek-y, and it reminded me of the 60s series, William Shatner era Star Trek, going to an alien world and trying to negotiate and running amok a conflict. The Coon, who is a group of warriors, a race of barbarians who hate the Green Lanterns, have taken issue with them. They've gone to a neutral Senate planet. The Senate has decided that they and the Lanterns can try to solve their dispute like men by fighting. But only problem is Hal Jordan isn't allowed to wear his ring, but he still uses his smarts to defeat the Coon opponent and accidentally kill him in the process. And Hal is shocked when he sees the customs of his brothers are to discard him like garbage, his dead body, and he asks them why, and they essentially say, you don't have any fucking respect for the way we do things, you're an outsider, don't worry about it, essentially. And so Hal has to really live with that, and his journey as leader of the Corps is becoming more difficult daily.
Yeah, man, it's a bummer that they haven't that Venditti's run so far has been mired with, like, crossovers and having to do that, because he's really great when they just let him write the book. I mean, his Exo Man of War was a thing that you read and go, man, he would be great at Green Lantern, and it seemed like the perfect fit. And, and that was when you were excited. When Jeff Johns is leaving, you're like, well, that's the perfect guy, because he really knows how to do, the Space Odyssey. And then, they just haven't really let him. It's just here and there where they've really let him shine on the book. So, it's a bummer. What was not a bummer was Green Arrow number 30. Lemire and Sorrentino killing it again. Book 5 in the Outsiders War. You finally get to see the standoff between LaCroix and the good guys. They finally come face to face, which has been going on for a while now.
Nice.
Yeah. And you also finally get to see something going on. You get to see what might end up happening with Count Vertigo. Count Vertigo, got put in prison, and he's kind of been on the DL for whatever. And You get an update on him and see that, he'll probably be rejoining the story soon. So
awesome.
It's been great. All of Green Arrow since Lemire took over, it's been such an excellent book. So
yeah, it's been like similar enough to the TV show in tone, but like way different in terms of story things that have happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Then on to Action Comics, the prelude to Superman Doomed.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a book that I'll probably end up having to pay a couple extra bucks to get the pieces of, because it looks like I'm gonna get like 4/6 of it in my own book. So I haven't really read any interviews. I gotta see if like it's something that I need to do. But
Charlie Soule is writing the majority of it, or it's like his big idea. And I did say he hopes to defy expectations with it. I think he kind of thinks people think it's gonna suck. So
I mean, I think that people are automatically put off by the fact that, like, I believe Lobdell is going to have an issue in there.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I haven't read a lot of Lobdell stuff, so I think unfairly sometimes talk about him being a bummer. I read the first few issues of Superman and did not think it was good. So, and his books seem to continuously go down in sales and get canceled. So that's the evidence. But who knows? He might write a really good story in there. I just wasn't really interested in anything. Like, I just some of the ideas in the books. Like, it just wasn't something that wanted to make me buy. Like, bringing in, like, another Kryptonian guy. Like, the what was the name of the...
Hell.
Yeah, Hell. And they called it Hell on Earth. I was like, this would have been cool if it was a 1999 wrestling gimmick, but we're past this, Like,
right.
It sounds like it should be, like, it would be sponsored by a fucking energy drink, the storyline would be. But, it was good, man, and this issue by Greg Pak, with, of course, the great art by Aaron Kuder, it's great because it really ties into, like, everything else that's been going on. In the last few issues, Clark has been battling, that Doomsday has been awakened and that he's going to be coming back soon. Clark, finds the ghost soldier and, like, who's kind of in charge with him. So you get more of this story and, like, what's going on, and a continuation of what's been going on in action, but then it also ties in, like, the events. They acknowledge all the events of the other thing, like when he's talking, it's brought up, like, him and Wonder Woman, hiding and blowing up a nuclear reactor, and how that's caused some things that have led to, like, what's going on. So they really tied in what's also going on in Superman and Wonder Woman in this book to give it a continuity that you really hadn't felt, between the titles before this.
Awesome.
And so it was great. So yeah, it did. I would have to say it does make me want to read the Superman Doom a little bit more. And luckily the next part of it's in Superman Wonder Woman number 7, which I already get. So that will at least give me, the chance to kind of see what I want. But also, too, I think they changed it up because I swear I thought the first part of this was supposed to be like a separate book. I swear I thought when I first heard the announcement of this that there was going to be like a Superman Doomed like prelude or one shot that was just a different book, and then it was going to start in the books. Whereas this is the prelude and the first issues in Superman and Wonder Woman, so maybe they changed the way they're going to do it, or maybe I have a terrible memory. But anyways, Action Comics staying awesome. And then I think just by the de facto, I had a lot of good books this week. I don't think I had like a blow it away week like the past couple. We've had the the good fortune of having like 3 or 4 weeks in a row where we just had multiple great comics.
Oh yeah.
This week I was happy with everything, but there wasn't like a lot of like go crazy. But I thought really solid and good is Detective Comics number 30. The first issue with the team of Francis Manapul, Brian Buccellato, coming over from The Flash, which of course we talked about it the whole time on here. You were getting The Flash, and it was excellent. Certainly.
Always glad to see like an odd artist-writer team stay together on something different.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like this book a lot, man. Like, you immediately get, like, in the first few pages, just the tone set in the book, by the art, that this book feels different than the other Batman books, which is great. Because, you don't want just the Scott Snyder light, version of the book. Like, you want something that's totally different something. And you, off the bat, get some new characters introduced in here, man. You get a biker gang, a little prelude of, like, them going on in Gotham with a new bad guy. So, they're, like, running some drugs, so that's an interesting thing. So that'll be, like, a new thing for Batman to be going against. And you get some new characters introduced, which are awesome. You get a really good Bruce Wayne moment where you meet somebody who wants, so like a donation for charity and some good Bruce dialogue. which is awesome. And like I said, man, just the art in it alone makes it worth it. But I really love the story, and it's just really good to get something that's different. A Batman book that's going to be different. It's still a serious Batman, because like I said, I love the serious take on Batman, so it's still going to be that way. But just, feels like a totally different book. I mean, I've heard that, and you kind of get for him at least. I mean, you kind of know at least part of what's going on, but a little bit of a mystery. And that's what I've heard is the big thing that Manapul and Buccellato have said is like they're going to do the title. They're doing Detective Comics. Like it's going to be Batman solving cases, and that's going to be the thing, more street level. So, really great first issue for them.
Yeah,
and Pumped Up Detective, it's kind of gone in and out here and there, but for the first time since like after the initial great storyline that started Detective, it's the first time in, almost 2 years that I feel really comfortable. It's like, this is the book that's going to stay great that, I'm not going to want to drop.
Yeah.
So, it's awesome. A lot of the books really changed.
Great artistic team there.
Yeah. So, that's it for this week, for number 88. Talk about a bunch of crap. Next week, we don't really have time, so we'll wait till next week. We'll talk about the Walking Dead finale, because that happened.
Yeah.
We'll wait and talk about it, because that'll be its own little 10-minute thing. We'll talk about Game of Thrones. We'll probably talk about WrestleMania a little bit. And then we'll have new comics for next week.
Oh, yeah, big ones. Batman Eternal coming out next week. Another Walking
Dead.
Yeah,
you get Batman Eternal. It's your first, it's the first your Batman book that I'm not getting. It's the first time it's happened. You get your own little Batman book that you can read and hold the joy from me for a couple days. You finally get to be the one that does that. So, the next part of Walking Dead, the next to last part of All Out War. So
and the $10 Deadpool book.
$10 Deadpool book. It better be good. So, if you have a minimum wage job and you want that Deadpool book, then go work your 2 full hours. Then go get your book.